Hello, what is going on? My name is Mists. It's been a while since we last talked, since we were here together. Today I would like to bring you a bit of a talk and discussion on Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I've put some time into the game now. I'm not too sure how long it is. I'll flash up at this point sort of how long it is. I think it was like 8 hours or more, 8-9 hours. I'm pretty far into the campaign. I've met some of the new people. I've met Plastic and I've seen a lot of the new characters. Now I'm just sort of trying to settle some old debts, shall we say. That's where I'm up to. If you played, you know, and if you haven't, not too many spoilers there. So, what shall we begin with saying? In this video, I want to sort of just provide a little bit of rebuttal to some things that some other people have said and my own thoughts on that, as well as some other thoughts about the game in general, and how overall I think it's pretty good. Okay, so I guess the first part really is to decide where to start. So let's start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. One of the first things I noticed right as the game booted up and we jumped in, I was a little confused, obviously, because I hadn't read the books and I didn't know what was happening at the start and how Faith got where she was and what was going on there, because last time we saw her, things were looking up. But aside from that, as we first go out into the world, we sort of, as soon as you see the city, as soon as you get called through that gate and you open up and you start to see things, it was sort of like that moment of stepping off the plane and you see something and it's familiar to you and it's that holiday from your childhood. You don't remember it, but you know you're back there. It really hit home for me, especially on that point. It really did feel like we were back in Glass, back in the City of Glass. It was a fairly good feeling, really, I suppose. It certainly did invoke those memories for me, so straight away it felt like, yeah, we're here, we're in the city, this is Mirror's Edge, we're back. This was a good thing. So I guess there you can really put all those fears behind you, or at least for me anyway, it certainly does feel like Mirror's Edge. It feels like the city we once knew before. A few changes here and there, I guess, because obviously time's passed, but no, it's Glass. You are back in the City of Glass and everything is as it should be, or not really as it should be, of course, because it's an oppressive society and an oppressive world, but it's as it should be thematically, shall we say. It's a good feeling. On from there, concerns have been raised here and there, and it's one of the things that Jim Sterling mentioned as well, was it felt very sterile, the world, and to me that's not a bad thing. The very first game did feel like that. As Faith herself says at the beginning of the first game, we exist on the edge between the gloss and the reality, the mirror's edge. And that quote sort of sums up a little bit about why the world is sterile. It's sort of like the gloss of everything. It's quite an oppressive world, but it has that hard ruling. Everything is running as a well-functioned, well-oiled machine. So it's sort of rigid in terms of, yes, it's oppressing, but it's not dark and grey. It's sort of has that glossiness over it, as Faith says, that sort of gives it... How would you describe it? Everything's fairly white, but it's glossy. It gives that feeling, that uneasy feeling of like everything seems to be going just right. This is like a perfect world where things work just as they should, but there's something just not quite right that just gnaws at you all the way through. And obviously you find out fairly early on, especially in the second game, you see like one of the citizens sort of bothered by Krugersek, basically. They're like, oh, your identity doesn't match who you say you are. And he's probably telling the truth, because it seems like they love to abuse that all the time and just randomly pick citizens out and sort of target them at random just for fun. So it is a very oppressive world. But I've found quite a lot of splashes of colour throughout the game. Not too many little ones here and there. I've noticed a lot of blues, especially purples, sort of lilac-y colours in certain rooms where there's lots of glow, lots of coloured lighting is used in certain areas. Obviously you've got the majority white with your Runner-Vision red, but no, I think it is a sterile world. It's a fair comment, and I think that's the way it's meant to be and the way it has always been, really. So for me, that's not a big issue. That's just right. That's how it was and how it will be, at least for the longest time, I guess, until things change themselves in the City of Glass, until Krugersek is gone, the oppression is lifted. But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. The runners have got their work cut out for them, and there's always going to be a business for them, at least for the time being. All I can say is I've put in about 7 hours, somewhere between 7 and 8 hours. The clock counter says 7, but it doesn't tell you how many minutes, so it could be 7 hours 5, it could be 7 hours 55 for all we know there. So I'm fairly far on through the main story, though. I mean, I met Plastic, and I've seen a lot of the older characters, and right now we're just trying to settle some old debts, and we've done quite a drastic thing so far. Not drastic in bad, but drastic is in like... that could have some consequences. Not really for Faith or anyone like that, just general. If you played the game, you might know what I'm talking about. And then we had to run away after we'd done it. So I'm sure you know where we're at there. How far am I before the end? I haven't done any of the... I don't know how much left of the game I've got. But I'd say there's still probably a fair chunk to go. Maybe? Not sure. I haven't really played a lot of the side missions, simply because they are bad. That's something we need to talk about, is the side missions. They're very, very, very strict, shall we say, in terms of their time limits. It's like get from A to B, and you literally... It's only just possible to sort of make them in the 3-star time sort of thing. Trying to like ace them is going to be very, very hard, at least... From what we've seen, all of the runs, things like that, a lot of them are a lot of people aren't liking them at all. I'm one of them especially. But I mean, some of them are good, some of them are not too bad. I've not played a lot of them, as I say, because they've been putting me off. I've not really been enjoying them. The ones where you've sort of got to run along and not get stopped by the soldiers, so you got to like do these like takedown moves on them and then just continue running on. It's alright. That does get repetitive very, very quickly, so they're not for me. The other ones where it's like grab the item, take it from point A to B, again you've got the soldiers in your way and you can't stop, and timers. There could be a lot more there. There could be a lot more to do that's just focused on the exploration. Give us some missions from citizens themselves. I mean, they are sort of citizen-esque, but they're from the workers, things like that. Give us some of the down and out guys, what do they call them? Give us something more. Something, I mean, time trials are fine, fair enough, but have them as a separate menu like we used to do in Mirror's Edge 1, where it's sort of like all the time trial missions, things like that. But as for the main story, that's been keeping me occupied, and I've not really felt the need to stray. I mean, I've run around a bit. It's like not followed necessarily the straight route from A to B. I've wanted to explore things, and I've gone after those glowy balls of light in the sky as the collectibles, just to pick up a few. Been grabbing those as chips and things out of the boxes as I go, but I've not been forcing myself to just go on random explorations, things like that. So I've not found and done a lot of the side missions. Whether you like them or not, I guess that's again down to you, but they're not for me, and I know they're not for a lot of people. So there's certainly some improvement that can be done there. I believe there's DLC on the way at some point, so I guess they've got a chance to add some more meat to the game there, sort of give us some missions that we could really sink our teeth into and enjoy. So that'll be interesting to see if they manage to pull anything out of the bag with that. So I guess, overall, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a good game for me, and I'm having fun. It's down to you, really, what you enjoy doing. So go for it, grab it, give it a go. It is a bit dear, though. I mean, come on, PC at the same price as console. For the longest time, I've moaned about this before, PC games have always been cheaper because there was less people on the platform. There wasn't as many people as there was on the consoles. And I still think it's that way, mostly. But I suppose with Steam and digital downloads, it's a lot easier. If it doesn't work, you just blip, refund, you're sorted, The game doesn't run on your system or whatever, whereas before, you go into game and it's like, no, we can't do returns because the code's been used and registered on a system somewhere and it's all locked down. So it is a bit easier now, so maybe that's why more people are getting pulled in, but I still feel uncomfortable about paying, 50 quid for something I don't know how long the experience is going to last. So that's still going to be something that bites at you for a while. There are other games like that as well that the prices generally stay fixed for a long time, and see what you think. If it goes on a sale, it probably isn't going to go on a sale for a while. You can pick it up. I managed to pick it up for about 30 odd quid, which I thought was more reasonable. I managed to pick it up at Base, I think it was, which is a shop in the UK, or at least it's an online store. They seem to sell a lot of the games, and they're more at the prices you'd expect for PC games. I wish, but no. Not at all. So, yeah, just go ham, enjoy it, see what you think, and you've probably tuned out by now. I'm Mists, and I'll see you all in the future with another video. Goodbye.